Hey there, I'm Scott the Winemaking Guy, and I'd like to welcome you to episode 6 of Help My Winemaking, the video podcast that helps people like you improve your winemaking savvy so you can make great tasting homemade wine. Let's get started. On today's show, I'm going to give you a friendly reminder about First Crush winemaking experience. I'm going to talk to you about why keeping notes is important, what to keep track of, and easy ways to keep track of your homemade wine as you make it. Alright, the First Crush winemaking experience. This is very interesting and why I'm telling you about it. Okay, firstcrushwinemaking.com is the website, and they have basically, if you're interested in winemaking from fresh grapes, this is the place you want to go, especially if you live in California and close to the winemaking region. They've got a couple weekends coming up for Cabernet Sauvignon, October 23rd to 25th, as well as Zinfandel, October 31st to November 1st. You can get this for this weekend. It's a harvest time, so you'll get into the vineyard, you'll pick your grapes, and you can be a part of the winemaking experience as much or as little as you want. And it takes about 18 months, so you can. This weekend is for picking the grapes. They've got education component to it as well. You can help make the wine or not. It's up to you, as well as bottle it and create your own custom-made wine labels. So really, you end up with your own custom, professionally made wine that you're part of, and very cool and great place to learn how to make wine. And I've chatted with these folks on the phone before, and I personally I'd love to do it, so but won't be able to this year. But I wanted to mention it to you folks as well. I also wanted to mention that information on the First Crush winemaking experience is on my website, and you can find it by going on the far right to wine tours, and information is there. Then, of course, firstcrushwinemaking.com is the place you want to go ultimately for pricing and details. I also wanted to send out an invite to you all that if you've got winemaking classes in your area or winemaking events, to please let me know, and I'd be happy to put them up on my blog and also give you some buzz on my podcast. So there you go. You can contact me through my blog by going to contact or replying to an email if you're a part of my winemaking community. Alright, let's continue on. So why keeping notes is important. Top 3 reasons. First, you know where you are in the process, obviously. Second, you'll be able to repeat your success. So if you have a fantastic batch, and especially if you make wine from scratch, you'll be able to repeat it down the road, as well as be able to avoid failure. So if you really mess up and you know what happened, then you'll be able to jot that down and avoid it in the future. And in terms of what to keep track of, here are 8 things that I think are important. Obviously, there could be more, but here are the basic ones. If you're making wine kits, of course, you want to peel that sticker off that comes on the box that keeps track of the type and the serial number, as well as the date it was made, so that if something's wrong with that wine kit and you want to call the manufacturer, you'll be able to tell them exactly which batch, and ultimately they can record it and replace it if necessary. Obviously, you want to keep track of the date of each stage, the specific gravity of temperature of each stage, any special ingredients you added, any variations to the ingredients, recipe, and techniques. So, for example, if you're making a crabapple wine and you decide to also add Granny Smith and Gala and other types of apples or other types of fruits, record those. And the same thing if you're blending grapes. That would be a great idea to keep track of. Any pertinent observations. So, for example, if your primary fermentation happened quicker than you expected or more slowly, that you can record that, and then if you trace it back to, for example, temperature, then you know what happened. And obviously results of taste tests throughout the aging. So one thing that we did with Stag's Leap Merlot, my wife Michelle and I, we bottled it after a year and a half, and then we've been trying a bottle every few months and seeing how it ages, so you can say, no, it needs a little bit more time, or now is a great time to try it. Now here are a bunch of easy ways to keep track of your batches. Now it can be as simple as using a notebook with a plastic cover. Now the plastic cover, of course, is to protect the notebook in case you have some splashing in your wine making area. For wine kits, here's what I do. This is a picture of some instructions. I just write right on the instructions at each stage, so I know what's going on. And then I've got a binder with these plastic pages that I can stick the instructions in and keep track of them. Also, you can include other information that maybe if you've got information from your winemaking supply store, you can keep track of everything in one area. Incidentally, a couple things to note: these plastic pages I just got at Staples, which is a local office supply store, and I believe they're for 4x6 pictures, so you can use those as well. The wine kit instructions fit it nicely there, and also you can see an example of one of those tabs that you can pull off the wine kit that have the serial of the wine kit and the date it was produced. Now here are a couple examples of some free winemaking logs. One's one that I did, the Winemaking Guy's Homemade Wine Log, and one I found on the Winemaker magazine website by Daniel Pambianchi. So let's have a look at both of those. Okay, so here's the one that I did, and it's one page, has a section for each step, as well as some notes at the bottom. So when you taste it, you can talk about the appearance, the color, aroma, acidity, astringency, that type of thing. And you can grab a copy on the winemakinguy.com resource page. And I'll just quickly go to it. So you can see here it is. It's on. I uploaded it to Scribd. And you can go to scribd.com. That's SCRIBD.com, or just grab it off my page. You can download it. You can print it. Here it is. And also, if you like it and you want to share it with your friends, you can Twitter about it or send it to your friends on Facebook. There are buttons here for that as well. Now, as far as the Winemaker Magazine log chart, here it is. So this is good for people like to have grids, and it also has columns for Brix, potential alcohol per volume, total acidity, pH, and free sulfur dioxide. And I'll include links to both of these on my blog as well, so you don't have to go hunting for that. Alright, so some couple ideas for you there. Some other ideas for carboys. You can use these are just beads or string, and just stick a card so you can keep track of what's in the carboy. I use a strip of masking tape and then just write the details on it. Another thing you can do is have a dry erase board. I just attach this to the side of the cabinet, keep track of things, and then there's magnets for the wine kit instructions. So something there. Now something for those of you who are a bit more advanced. It's called the Amphora Wine Log, and this is actually cool software that I found for you. It's been installed in over 250 wineries and vineyards in 20 countries around the world. There's a free trial, but if you ultimately want to buy it, it's $39.95 US. And for more information, go to firmsoft.com. That's F as in Frank, ERM as in Mary, SOFT as in Tango.com. And here's a screenshot. It's based around a database, and you can put in different measurements at various points throughout the day, at each stages. It graphs things, and you can in essence keep track of all of your batches in one place. So if you're like the details and to fancy graphs and that type of thing, for $40 you can't go wrong. Of course, I'm going to have links to this on my blog, especially the winemakinguy.com resources. And also, I want to mention this resource page. Really, it's a free place to find all sorts of stuff about winemaking. So if you think that there is something worthy of being put out there, please let me know. And you can do so, and as well as share comments or other tips by emailing me at tips@helpmywinemaking.com, or of course replying to any email you receive to me and say, hey, Scott, make sure you get this up on your website. It's a great resource. All right, well, that's all the time we have for this week. Hope you learned something new. And of course, thanks for taking time to stopping by and listening to me talk about winemaking. Obviously, it's a subject that is a passion of mine. So to get more winemaking tips, I invite you to join me on Twitter at twitter.com/winemakinguy. I'll also have a page up on Facebook, fbook.me/winemakinguy. I always invite people to join me there. And of course, my blog, thewinemakinguy.com. And if you haven't signed up for my free 5-part winemaking course, please do so. You can also subscribe to this podcast via iTunes, so when a new one is uploaded, you are first to see it. So join me next week, where I'll be discussing the dangers of using plastic water bottles as carboys, because I know that I have been asked this question a number of times, and I had a really interesting conversation the other day with Myron, who is my guy for Winemaking Supply Store. So I wanted to pass that information on to you. All right, well, bye for now. Have a great week. See you next week.